So good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Thierry Lesable. Okay, I'm working for the office of the CTO of Sagemcom, obviously. Okay, so I guess this is the Back to the Future session because somebody already told me we're not the 20, we're the 19. So that's the first remark of the presentation already. Okay, so I guess we'll have two challenges here, at least for my side. The first one is I don't get the robot dancing, for me, okay, for this presentation. And the second one is that you might be digesting slightly, so I will try to entertain them a little bit more, okay, for the session. So obviously, okay, the title is from HoT to CoLD, well, beyond the joke itself, tiny joke, okay, from the home of things to connected lightweight devices. Okay, so kind of title for your open project, okay, obviously. But beyond the joke, again, Sagemcom is really believing, okay, that we need to go farther in terms of cooperation and opening, well, the box, obviously, as this morning it was mentioned by Orange and all these nice guys, okay, because we're participating in Open the Box as well. Okay, so we need to go beyond that. We need to go really to collaborate, with open source projects, okay, and we'll try to demonstrate that we are really investing, okay, in that domain. And we are really committed to that, obviously. Okay, so the first thing, the first slide, really start with, well, the well-known Gartner innovation cycle, okay, because obviously, Internet of Things is mentioned, so that's a good thing for today, at least, okay. The other one is that this is quite a buzzword, lately, okay, nowadays. I think everybody, attending the CS or even just reading the blogs concerning the CS Las Vegas, obviously there were many companies, even French companies, demonstrating very nice stuff with, very a lot of connected objects. And this morning you had plenty of occasions to see that, okay, from yourself. Okay, so Internet of Things, well, definitely that's something that will happen, okay. Now, the big question is the timeline, okay, the time to market. I am an industry guy, sorry for that. Okay, so we need to have, good estimate for the time to market for us, okay, to be sure that we can leverage our R&D, okay, about that, and at the end of the day, we can get some good contract from operators, for instance. Okay, so we are definitely in the peak of inflated expectations, okay, regarding the Gartner hype cycle. And the estimate, as you could see with a small triangle, okay, but this needs like around 10 years, okay, for reaching this well-known plateau of productivity. So basically where you get, some real cash, okay, and adoption by the community, adoption by the mass product, okay, definitely for that. Something else that we need to take into account, when evaluating such kind of timeline is the technology adoption. Definitely, again, the latest technologies, it's not like 100 years, to be adopted, okay, like it was the case for the car or the fixed line for the telephone or the airplane, etc. Or it's not even 50 years, like for the TV to be adopted for the mass, from the mass, okay. And we can see that for the cell phone, it was like 10 years, for the old cell phone, I would say, okay. Nowadays, again, this timeline of adoption for the technology is really shrinking, okay. And we'd like to believe that for the Internet of Things, as soon as we'll manage, of course, to avoid, obstacles and to find the right solutions, well, we'd like to believe it would be far less than 10 years. Okay, this is our understanding. So what is the status today? Okay, obviously we are focusing on the home network. Okay, from our side, this is our market. Okay, definitely. So we got, all these different silos from vertical markets. I think this is something which is quite well known. Okay, with multiple devices communicating with many different interfaces, protocols, radio or fixed line, like PLC, whatsoever. Well, this is a bit of a jungle out there, okay. On top of that, okay, all these different technologies and protocols need to communicate with each other, okay. So we need to, again, to go through these walled gardens of many silos and vertical markets, okay, with, of course, environments, white goods, or, e-health, etc., or metering. And we need to go, again, to go through these walled gardens. So organization based on silo, well, at some point they need to evolve. Okay, we really need to embrace this diversity. We need to embrace this open market. Okay, if they want to innovate. This is really the trend of the history. If you follow the successes, okay, for the past 10, 20 years, this is the right direction. Okay. Concerning the cloud, well, this is a big term, quite generic term, of course. Again, there are many proprietary solutions, solutions which are not stabilized yet. Okay, so for us, this is quite a question mark. how to connect to the outer world. Again, as it was mentioned this morning, you have some solutions, obviously. Okay, so you can deploy, you can do some good business there. But at the end of the day, if you want to widen the market, if you want to get a mass adoption, you need to work on that. And I'm pretty sure that you guys are working on it, no doubt. So this is just the example of wireless technologies. Okay, so some of them is not exhaustive. Okay, but you can find, like Enocean, Connex, Ember, Z-Wave Wireless, HoT, ISN 100 for the industry, Dash 7, Zigbee, of course, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, well, 11AC, 11N, whatever, 11AD if you want, okay, NFC, and of course, for sport, Ant Plus, or even Nike Plus if you want, okay, and for the cellular, or let's say the wide area network, okay, you find, cellular technologies coming from the M2M, okay, you can find Sigfox, this is like 3 different approaches here. Okay, the cellular with licensed band, or unlicensed, even whiteless. Okay, with TV white space, this is quite, a pushy opportunities here. Okay, which is being trialed actually in the UK. Okay, so this is something that you need to bear in mind. Okay, that something is happening in that domain as well. So all of that, anyway, that definitely means there are a lot of chaos, I would say. Okay, you need to cope with all these different technologies and to find a way to connect all these devices. So our approach, in SagemCo, we are trying to push for these 4 pillars for connected home. Okay, so the very first one, of course, is finding a common protocol for connecting the devices. Okay, at the lower level. Okay, this is the very basic stuff. The connectivity itself, you need it. Okay, then you need to set up, a common framework to manage the applications. Okay, this is definitely very important as well. Okay, this is one of the pillars. And of course, on top of that, you need to deploy, to reach a consensus concerning this shared infrastructure, okay, to have all these silos, communicating with each other. And at the end of the day, again, interfaces, okay, with the internet, with the cloud itself for the services. So trying to, let's say, so it's not exhaustive again, okay, and I'm pretty sure we'll get some debate around the coffee break, okay, like you are not, you want to debate something out there, I'm pretty sure, okay, in terms of the criteria for the benchmarking and the comparison. The point here is, again, from the industry side, okay, we don't pretend that we get the truth, okay, definitely, but that's very complex anyway to compare all these different technologies, okay, to have a true benchmark, apple to apple, for this kind of technologies. Okay, and to find the right KPI, the right criteria for comparison, that's quite difficult. The thing which is a bit more easy for us as an industry guy, is to highlight, to underline, the key point what you need to bear in mind while developing new solutions or enhancement of these technologies. So the first one, which was emphasized again, this morning, is about security. Okay, the security, the scalability, and of course, discovery peer-to-peer. Okay, because we are on the home network, and this is something that we would like, okay, to get. But security is definitely, something important, and privacy. But we'll come back to that, later. Okay. Then, of course, since now you get all these different kind of devices, not only, very smart or very complex devices, okay, like sensors, you need definitely to have a solution for that. Okay, so you need to get something with a flavor concerning wireless sensor networks, okay, and especially energy saving. Okay, so this is something which will be very appreciated. And even more appreciated from the industry standpoint is about the robustness. Okay, you need something robust, okay, which is widespread, well adopted by the mass. So that means you need to get a full ecosystem. Okay, you need to get provider for the software, for the hardware, okay, and you need to get proof, okay, far more than just proof of concept. Okay, if you want something, if you want a real product to deploy, well, this will have a strong weight in the balance at the end of the day for deciding, okay, which technology we'll go for, okay. So obviously, commercially deployed networks and the technologies is something very important for us, okay, in terms of the choice and the decision at the end, okay. Having the backup from and standard or alliance is something else, okay, which will pile up, okay, on top of that, okay. So having the backup, of Oasis, PNP, of course, OMG, HCM2M, IPSO, etc. Well, this is something which is strengthening, the proposal at the end of the day, okay, because all these standard and alliances means you have a full ecosystem around it, okay, for backing up, this technology as well, okay. So interoperability, IoT with upper O. IoT, again, this is of course tightly related with standardization because this is one of the primary targets for standard. Okay, you want to declare and you want to standardize interface and making plug fast and ensuring that the IoT is quite plug and play and that you can get multi-vendor sources as well. Okay, so licensing is something very important as well. We are discussing that, the coffee break, this morning. Okay, licensing and being clear what kind of license and what does that include or not. Okay, because you can get many stuff that are demonstrating in prototype and so on. At the end of the day, as an industry, you want to be sure, what is the business model behind it. Okay, this will have to be taken into account. And for us, open source availability is definitely, as I said, just before, something which is very strong for the proposal. Okay, we want to go for that. We need an open world. We need an open source because we do believe that for the right pace of innovation, okay, the only solution is going for open source projects. Okay, to gather the right community, okay, coming from many different silos. Okay, you need to get that. Okay, this is again the sense of the history. Okay, if you want to fuel the innovation, this is how you would get it. And we believe that potentially, standardization. Standardization, well, need to learn from that. Okay, they need to adapt themselves as well with respect to what is going on out there in the open source community. So of course, well, from that, we can, let's say, at least identify some trends from our side, okay, to be debated. But let's say UPnP, DDS, co-op, MQTT is something very important for us. Okay, it looks like, with a strong background and the right community. Okay, but we are open, again, to other protocols or other technologies. Okay, it's not a big deal. It's just a trend and understanding right now, okay, or where it's going on. Okay. So to summarize that, in terms of overview, at the end of the day, what we want is something secure, scalable, plug and play. Okay, so transparent to the end user. Okay, we'll come back to that. Transparent, energy efficient, mature, robust, open, multi-vendor, user-centric. So we get the holy grail here. Now, how to reach that? Well, I'm pretty sure we'll get some proposals, from your side in terms of innovation and the right approach. So that's why we need to cooperate together, okay? Of course, multiple actors, as I'm mentioning, the standardization or the alliance, are working right now trying to share more and more and to make liaison and efficient liaison, okay? Not the old-fashioned liaison, between, standardization working group, okay? Just with papers. So liaison with even common plug fest, for instance. Okay, so really trying to go through these walled gardens. So we appreciate that definitely. And at the end of the day, the big question is, do we need one protocol to rule them all? Okay, it's not for me. Okay, so but I thought that it was really at the end of the day, the question which is going on out there. Okay, like the HCM2M trying to get unification. Okay, so do you need that? That's one question as well. Do you need it? Because as it was mentioned this morning, at the end of the day, when you will face real deployments, you need to be flexible enough. Okay, to change. Okay, to adapt even your architecture. Okay, to be humble and say, well, okay, on the paper this is what I will do. Well, at the end of the day, okay, maybe I need to do something else. Okay, so the one protocol stuff. From our side again, it's like. We are very careful for that, okay? Because this sounds like an holy grail, okay? So we don't want to spend like 10 years standardization, doing standardization while, at the end of the day, in parallel, open source are going to deploy something which is, which is working well, So it's kind of standard de facto. Well, let's go for a standard de facto. It's not a big deal. As long as, as long as the community is robust enough, as long as this answers, the right requirements, why not? Okay, so we are always very careful in SageMcom with, standardization. We need to find the right war plan, okay, the right ecosystem, and we believe that 1M2M finally is reaching maybe this ecosystem, okay, compared with the HCM2M, okay. That's a very good evolution, I believe, okay. So again, let's try to be careful about that, okay, in terms of trying to reach the Holy Grail. We wanted to mention, of course, in terms of feedback, from our side, two major initiatives where we are involved. Of course, you had a very nice presentation this morning and demonstration of Open the Box. So we are involved in Open the Box, where, of course, they want to set up and to find, the common framework to manage several independent applications based on OSGI, okay? And, of course, these applications need to issue several App Store and different providers. And that was demonstrated, okay? You can replace one gateway from one operator by another one, which is fantastic for the end user, actually. Okay, for the flexibility of that. So you are really, multi-vendor approach and very open. So definitely the title is very good, open the box. Okay, another initiative where we are very active is Agora, okay, so Smart Suite Home. So here, as we identify, I mean, initially, Agora allows data exchange between all this ecosystem, okay? So you can find here, I mean, many partners that are in this room as well, okay, for many different markets, vertical markets, okay? So trying to set up one common protocol among these silos, and of course, one common data model, which is very important, which is one of the keystone as well. So something that we need to bear in mind as well, I mean, as I mentioned before, we mentioned security and privacy. So this is the need for governance actions, okay, from the European Commission, for instance. You need regulator, I mean, to be to give some directions, you know, and some way, some leveraging weight there. Okay, so privacy and protection of personal data is definitely important for the end user. Okay, trust and acceptance and security and standardization. Okay, but with the right pace and the right ecosystem as well. Okay, we're not here for standardizing, you know. So this is the Internet of Things for people. It was mentioned by the European Commission. And well, to carry on with Lord of the Ring, okay, we want to avoid the Eye of Sauron. Okay, so especially with the latest development with NSA, all the kind of things. Okay, so this is a part of the privacy and the trust from the end user. Okay, if you want the people, I mean, to trust your system, okay, you need to demonstrate, to educate them, and to take that into account, of course, at the highest priority. Okay. So to carry on the privacy, I mean, this is a good example, we believe. I mean, this is from Ubisoft, which is a gaming company. Okay, and we have this game, which is called Watchdogs, We Are Data, and which is all about, I mean, what could go wrong, okay, with getting sensors and then getting connected devices everywhere. Okay, so you can get, I mean, all information from, of course, ITS, okay, Intelligent Transport System. You can get everything about the networks, okay, from RF or urban equipment, okay, like the firelight, or of course social networks, and you can see that, I mean, with real time. Of course, this is just a game, right? Okay, but again, this is really emphasizing what could go wrong. Okay, definitely. So I really invite you, I mean, to go on the website. It's a very nice interface first. Okay, so we need to work to avoid that, definitely. Okay, because at the end of the day, with the big data, of course, and all the information that could be, let's say, standardized there. Okay, as you could see, we get the average salary, okay, or the criminality, I mean, rate, consumption, etc., etc. And it could be even worse than that. So we mentioned IoT for people. Of course, we need to, I mean, we need to work for getting a real societal impact. But most importantly, we need to get it easy to use. Okay. So again, we have a lot of devices at home, a lot of applications, a lot of products with heterogeneous sources, and there is no home integrator really. Okay. So what happens again when several applications want to access simultaneously the same resources? I'm pretty sure this is a nice, nice topic for research, which is already going on. How to guarantee this SLA and the privacy to the end user with multi-application, multi-gateway context. And when the house or your robot, okay, is getting crazy, who can help the end user, okay? So that means you need somewhere a very easy and simple diagnostic element, okay, that can feed back, I mean, all this information very simply, okay, to the end user. So that means he can feel empowered, so he can feel in control of what's going on out there in his own home, okay? This is the main thing. And that means this diagnostic, I mean, tool need to be able to understand the home complexity, and again, translation, okay, to the end user, and very simplistic. So that means, from our side, we need more field trials, more feedback concerning commercial deployments. And this was done this morning, okay, for the last session of this morning. It was very interesting, okay, because it's all about that. We need to share more and more feedback from true commercial deployments, you know, to identify the real difficulties and how you deploy that, okay, from real world, definitely. And we don't think, let's say that right now, this is what is going on. Okay, so this is just a survey from a paper. I mean, you can find many information from, let's say, the past testbed or even current testbed and the field deployment or smart city initiatives with, okay, FP7 or Celtic or whatsoever, you know, a framework or even commercial ones, okay. But the first thing, okay, this is just, I mean, one key parameter here, I mean, to differentiate them in terms of number of nodes, okay? So this is heterogeneous in terms of number of nodes. So scalability is very difficult to evaluate at the end of the day, okay? And of course, the technology themselves are totally different. You know, so at the end of the day, it's very difficult, again, to make a true apple-to-apple comparison, okay, for such kind of system and technology. And to draw, that means it's difficult to draw relevant conclusions from that, you know. So that means you need a larger scale and more open deployments, okay? That's what we want to encourage. And this is also a message from, well, the ministers, okay, or the European Commission. This is what we told them as well. You need more sharing and tracking of results within the community. So again, open communities, I mean, are playing a key role there, or at least we believe they will play definitely a key role, okay? And open innovation is a solution as well, okay? The right direction. And in terms of such kind of initiative, well, this is one of the well-known, I mean, initiatives with opening, let's say, deployment, okay, from Berkeley initiative, okay, with wireless sensor networks, okay. I wanted to mention as well, I mean, Georgia Tech, okay, which is tackling lately, I mean, the Internet of Things, okay, with a massive, I mean, commitment there. Of course, this is US, but okay, let's see what's happening out there, okay, as well. Another good initiative, I mean, which is very meaningful, I believe, is the GSMA Connected Living Tracker. Of course, this is a bit more coming from the machine-to-machine, okay, definitely world, okay, but again, that means they also identify, I mean, this lack of feedback from real deployments, okay, and because at the end of the day, we speak about, okay, behavior, etc., and what are, I mean, the traffic sources and the behavior of the user. Well, you need, again, to get sufficiently statistic, you know, from these kind of deployments. Well, finally, I mean, get to only 2 slides. I mean, again, we were mentioning open innovation, okay, collaboration. Well, obviously, I'm pretty sure that many of you, I mean, already noticed that, I mean, next year, I mean, it will close next year, okay? There is a huge, I mean, ICT core, I mean, related to Internet of Things, okay, which is definitely, I mean, the topic that we're addressing today, okay, where the challenges are definitely, again, what we are trying to highlight today and within your research area. And the challenges, definitely, again, the objectives are, I believe, I mean, the ones that many people already today underlined. Okay, so we hope that we can collaborate together. So for concluding my session, again, well, this is where we are today. Okay, so we believe, as I say, a lot of work has been done on the key enablers, so especially in terms of connectivity, in terms of protocols, interop and services. Okay, and again, what is missing from our side in terms of maturity and even research is like increasing the privacy, okay, for empowering, I mean, the end user, I mean, ensuring the trust from this guy, okay, because at the end of the day, this is where the demand is coming from, okay, that will enhance this home management, okay, because again, this is where all this is going to happen for this demand, and of course, I mean, to ensure simplicity for the end user, okay, and if I may, okay, at the end of the day, this is user-centric. So we need to bear in mind that these are technologies that will be user-centric. Okay, so we hope that we can collaborate together. Thanks.